Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Africa EV Show, where we discuss all issues EV ecosystems in different African countries. Many of these ecosystems are mostly driven by Chinese tech, but there are other players who are making a name for themselves as the demand for affordable transport solutions grows. This week, we look at an issue that is likely to be missed unless you have a keen eye on the sector, and that is business strategies helping EV dealers make inroads and stay afloat in a very competitive space flooded with second-hand EVs. Now, African countries are quietly shifting to e-mobility, which many observers may miss, but to achieve their goals, stakeholders are coming up with innovations to ensure that they manage to gain entry and also maintain sustainability in the EV sector. With the electric vehicle market projected to grow by a staggering 25% every year to hit $28 billion by 2030, players in the sector are coming up with solutions to ensure that they do not miss out on a piece of this pie. And so, behind the headlines of the green transition, a brutal business battle is being fought. How do you sell a $30,000 electric car in an economy dominated by $5,000 used second car imports? How do you convince a minibus driver whose livelihood depends on every liter of fuel to make the switch? The answer isn't just better technology, it's smarter business. Today, we are diving into the survival playbook of Africa's EV industry. We'll uncover the 4 key strategies that winning companies are using right now to beat the competition, win over customers, and build a lasting foothold in the world's next great auto market. And this isn't just about cars, it's about the business of change. Strategy number 1, hyper-localized partnerships. And in a fragmented market, you can't go it alone. The smartest players so far are embedding themselves into the existing economic fabric. In Kenya, for instance, Chinese electric motorcycle maker Tangvolt isn't just seeking to sell bikes. They are seeking to create an entire ecosystem in partnership with established players in financing like Watu. This will help them leapfrog business acquisition and head straight to the customers already in this financing network. In Nigeria, Tangvolt is working with logistics companies to provide a guaranteed corporate customer base for their vehicles, and this is a game changer. Instead of selling one bike to one nervous individual, they are selling fleets to businesses that see the bottom line benefit. And it goes further than that. Companies taking this approach partner with financial institutions to offer tailored lease to own plans. And crucially, they partner with energy companies to deploy charging and battery swapping stations. This solves the 2 biggest anxieties for a potential e-motorcycle buyer. Can I afford it? And if so, where will I charge it? By building this web of partnerships, they de-risk the purchase and create a seamless customer journey. And another example is Pitch Cars in Kenya. The second-hand car dealer is partnering with Moja EV, the company that introduced Neta vehicles in East Africa's largest economy. And in the agreement, Pitch Cars will sell pre-owned second-hand vehicles on behalf of Kenyans seeking to upgrade to EVs. This way, the partnership benefits both companies with referrals from each other, which will grow e-mobility in Kenya. Moja EV has also partnered with PTG Travels, a corporate transport solutions company in Kenya. Why? Because PTG understands the transport market in this country. Together, they're deploying EVs for more affordable transport in Kenya. And now, this is just a sale. It is a co-branded service that targets a specific customer segment. The lesson here is clear. Your partner's customer base is your new sales channel. On to our strategy number 2 is a masterclass in pragmatism, local assembly, and glocalization of Chinese tech. And let's be real, China is the world's factory and manufactures over 80% of the world's solar modules, which will play a critical role in powering e-mobility. In addition, most EV components are also made in China. And since the Chinese have insurmountable lead in scale and cost, African companies aren't ignoring this. They are leveraging it. The new model involves importing a Chinese technology in semi knocked down or SKD kits or completely knocked down kits, CKDs, and assembling them locally. So in Uganda, Chira Motors just launched a new plant with a capacity to produce 5,000 manually, while in Kenya, Aquila Star broke ground on $150 million EV plant in Olkaria, backed by a UAE investor. Now, in Olkaria, that is where geothermal energy or electricity is generated in Kenya. It's like the biggest place where this is happening. And so, guess where most of the components will come from? You can be sure that they will be coming from China. And why does this matter? First, price. Local assembly significantly reduces import duties, making the final product more competitive against both new imports and the ever present used cars. And as one Kenyan taxi driver who switched to a Chinese EV said, the fuel savings alone were a no brainer. He can recoup his investment faster because the upfront cost is manageable. Second, this is critical. It allows for glocalization. That word again, global technology adapted for local conditions. A great example is from Burkina Faso, which launched its own EV brand earlier this year. While they aren't designing the car from scratch, they are certainly working with Chinese partners to adapt existing proven platforms for their customers. This strategy turns a major challenge, Chinese dominance, into a powerful opportunity. And African companies get access to world class tech, can create local jobs, and can tweak the product to fit their market, all while keeping costs in check. It's a win that sidesteps the expensive research and design phase and gets viable products on the road now. Our strategy number three tackles the single biggest barrier, the sticker shock. How do you overcome the high upfront cost? You change the financial conversation. The most powerful tool in the EV salesman arsenal isn't the spec sheet, it's the total cost of ownership calculation. Companies are training their sales teams to show customers, especially commercial drivers, that while an EV might cost more today, it saves a fortune tomorrow. Let's break it down using the math from the Kenyan taxi driver story. He was spending $30 on fuel, and his Chinese EV slashed that by almost half for the electricity he uses to charge his car. Over a year, the fuel savings alone pay a significant amount offsetting the loan for the vehicle. This is the narrative that sells. This isn't an expense, it's an investment that pays you back. But what if you still can't afford the initial investment? This is where financial innovation comes in. We are seeing the rise of pay as you go and lease to own models. Instead of a massive down payment, drivers pay a smaller daily or weekly fee, much like they would pay for fuel. This aligns the cost with the revenue the vehicle generates. And this is why even the used car market is getting in on the act, like we have seen with Pit Cars introducing a trading model for EVs. This is huge. It creates a secondary market, which assures early adopters that their asset won't be worthless in a few years. It legitimizes EVs as a durable financial asset and not just a green novelty. And by financing the transition and relentlessly focusing on the long term savings, companies are making EVs a rational economic choice for the average African entrepreneur. And our strategy number four is about focus. Forget selling to everyone and start by dominating a specific high value commercial use case. The mass commuter market or the mass consumer market will take time. The low hanging fruit is in commercial transport, where the cost saving argument is most powerful and the daily mileage justifies the investment. And the evidence is everywhere. Two and three wheelers. This is the fastest growing segment in East Africa, especially. And companies are targeting delivery riders and tuk tuk drivers whose profits are directly eaten by the fuel costs. The business case is immediate. Corporate and public transport, as we saw with Moja EV targeting corporate fleets, is a path to economic volume sales. In mining and industry, we saw in Zambia where a massive new solar power plant was built specifically to power mines. The next step is electrifying the haulage trucks and vehicles within those industrial complexes. The energy is already there. The operational savings are the price. By focusing on these B2B segments first, EV companies achieve scale, prove their reliability, and get their vehicles on the street as moving billboards. When a consumer sees an electric bus or a delivery bike every day, their perception changes and the technology becomes normal, trusted, and also aspirational. And this B2B first approach builds the foundation for the eventual B2C boom. So, there you have it, the four-part survival guide for Africa's EV revolution. Build hyper and localized partnerships to de-risk sales. Assemble locally with Chinese tech to control costs and adapt to the market. Innovate on financing and sell the long-term savings and not the short-term cost. Target specific commercial use cases to build skill and credibility. And this isn't a story about Africa simply importing a Western or Chinese model. This is a story of African business ingenuity, of finding pragmatic, resilient, and collaborative strategies to solve local problems. The race is on. The companies that master these strategies won't just be selling cars. They'll be building the backbone of a new, clean, and economically powerful mobility system for the African continent. What do you think? Which of these strategies is the most crucial? Are there other business models you've seen working in your country? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the business of Africa's EV future, do us a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ensure that your notifications are on so that you do not miss our next analysis. And we have so many more on our channel which you can browse and enjoy. As always, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.